to the past. Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman has become the first Nigerian player to win the Player of the Season award at Italian Serie A club Atalanta. Lookman had an outstanding debut campaign with Atalanta. The 25-year-old attacker just joined the club last summer from RB Leipzig for 9.2 million euros, and he repaid every penny spent on him. Lookman nicked 15 goals and 8 assists in 33 games for La Dea last season. However, his brilliance could only help the club to a sixth place finish in the Serie A. Following Lookman's performances, he was nominated for the Player of the Year award of the season, alongside Liverpool-linked Teon Koopmeiners and Martins de Roon. The club have now announced that Lookman has won the award. This means he is the first Nigerian player to win the award in the club's history. Lookman had a torrid end to the season because of injuries, but he would look to improve when the new season begins in August, you would expect. And for a time there, he was level on goals and very close in competition with Victor Osimhen. Right now, Nigerians are doing big things in Italy and demonstrating an appetite to break records. We've seen Osimhen become the first Nigerian in history to win, and in fact, I believe the first African to win the best player in Serie A ever. So, Lookman himself is doing big things in Atalanta, and you can only expect that second seasons, as they typically go, that would only get better for Lookman. And if this does happen, it would surely translate into better performances for Nigeria. It begs the question how Leicester City could justify letting Lookman go in the first place.
I mean, it is just a very common conception that a player in his debut season for a new country, he had spent all his life in England, playing for the likes of Fulham, Leicester City, and starting his career in Everton. Now he went to Italy in his debut season. He was blistering. Ademola Lookman, anytime, any day, is a diamond of a player, but I don't get to see his quality in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Maybe that's a more to come. Let's just celebrate his wins right now for the Bergamo side. I'm talking about Atalanta. He had a fantastic start of the season, just like you highly mentioned his stats, 15 goals. I mean, there was a time he was level. He was level on goals with the likes of Victor Osimhen. But Victor Osimhen, we know his records to later on in
Lethal, edgy striker.
Winning the highest goal scorer right there. But for Ademola Lookman, great one for him. And of course, it's a season where Nigerian players all over Europe were performing. I mean, in Belgium, we had a certain player playing for Genk, and now in Italy, Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman were running the show. Now, if Ademola Lookman had completed the way he started, completed the season the way he started, I reckon that he would have at least be very close with Victor Osimhen, and we would have seen a Nigerian winning the highest goal scorer and another Nigerian finishing second. All kudos to him. I'm happy to see that he's been recognized in Italy. I can't wait to see him being recognized as far as the Super Eagles is concerned.
The record was 115 years long, and he has just broken it. But speaking of a club letting a player go, a Nigerian player who's very good at what he does, we have Leicester City again. Now, reporters come out saying that Ndidi and Iheanacho would be allowed to leave Leicester City. I understand that oftentimes that when a club gets relegated, first of all, the Premier League level players want to leave because they don't want to be competing at that level. They want to look for greener pastures and maintain their wages, because sometimes clubs do have to cut back on wages. Sometimes it's even written into their contracts that there would be a reduction in wages should the club ever get relegated. Unfortunately for Leicester City, last season they did get relegated, and sometimes it requires the team to not cut back on their expenditure, sell off players, and buy players that they can afford more at the level of competition that they now find themselves in. However, it does seem that if Iheanacho and Ndidi weren't pushing for the opportunity to leave, that you would want to keep as many strong options who can get you to the next back into the Premier League next season. What do you make of this report? Is Leicester making just yet another big blunder?
Leicester City, Leicester City, Leicester City. I remember the season they won the Premier League. It's still very fresh in my head. No one expected them to. They deserve some
2017.
respect. But right now, they are going to be playing the championship, which is very sad. And for top players like Wilfred Ndidi, certainly a top player, and top clubs are going to come for him. But Wilfred Ndidi, we must also highlight that at the end of the last season, he was rocked with so many injuries. He couldn't perform in the optimal level that we know him for. Leicester City, they already know that they're going to lose big players. They've already lost Madison to Tottenham Hotspur, and the likes of Wilfred Ndidi would be next. I mean, they are familiarized with this. They are a top club. They know what happens when they get relegated. When a club gets relegated, clubs are going to come for their key players. I remember Juventus way back in time where they were relegated for some unscrupulous activities. The players who played there insisted that they don't want to go anywhere. Now, if Wilfred Ndidi wants to leave, the club is certainly going to let him leave because he wants to play in top flight. He's still very young. He still has a lot to offer as far as football is concerned. Not just England. He can still go to Italy, Spain. That's where good football is. They still have some good football right there. So if they want to leave, they should let him go. But I remember Del Piero didn't want to leave Juventus at the time.
Yeah.
He wanted to
One club I suspect we might see jump into the race to pick up Iheanacho would likely be Everton. They've struggled in recent times for a fit striker, and Iheanacho would be just another good option to have who could do certain things because there's not a great deal of expectation on Everton for next season. They might very well find themselves in another relegation battle, especially if they do not go out and try to get another striker to either replace or be an alternative to Calvert-Lewin, who seems to be struggling in the last couple of seasons with repeated injuries.